Hi everyone, this is a video of Act 1, Scene 5 for Romeo and Juliet. This is a really important scene because this is the point where we have love at first sight, where Romeo and Juliet have their first meeting. This all takes place at the Capulet party, as well as Romeo and Juliet meeting. This is where Romeo is spotted for the first time by Tybalt, and he takes great offence to the fact that there are Montagues present at the party. So it's about that simmering tension as well as the new love of the two young people and their love at first sight. So we're now again Sunday night, Capulet's house. This is all about the preparation for the party. Where's Potpan, that he helps not to take away? He shift a trencher, he scrape a trencher. When good manners shall lie all in one or two men's hands, and they unwashed too, 'tis a foul thing. Away with the joined stalls, remove the cork cupboard, look to the plate. Good thou, save me a piece of marchpane, and as thou lovest me, let the porter let in Susan Grindstone and Nell. Anthony and Potpan. Enter two more servingmen. Aye, boy, ready. You are looked for and called for, asked for and sought for, in the great chamber. We cannot be here and there too. Cheerly, boys, be brisk a while, and the longer liver take all. They retire behind. Enter at this point Capulet, Lady Capulet, Juliet, Tybalt and his page, nurse, and all the guests and gentlewomen to the maskers. Welcome, gentlemen, ladies that have toes unplagued with corns will walk about you. Ah, my mistress, which of you all will now deny to dance? She that makes dainty, she I'll swear hath corns. Am I come near ye now? Welcome, gentlemen. I have seen the day that I have worn a visor and could tell a whispering tale in a fair lady's ear, such as would please. 'Tis gone, 'tis gone, 'tis gone. You are welcome, gentlemen. Come, musicians, play. So Lord Capulet here is saying, I've had my time, young gentlemen, where I would be courting a lady here. This time the floor is for you. So he's welcoming everybody into the party and willing them to dance. A hall, give room, and foot it, girls. And they dance. More light, you knaves, and turn the tables up, and quench the fire. The room is grown too hot. Ah, sirrah, this unlooked-for sport comes well. Nay, sit, good cousin Capulet, for you and I are past our dancing days. How long is it now since last yourself and I were in a mask? So now he's sitting with one of his relatives, equally of a similar age to Lord Capulet, and they're kind of reminiscing about the days when they would have been young people dancing at a party like this. Oh, the lady, 30 years. What, man, 'tis not so much, 'tis not so much, 'tis since the nuptial of Lucentio. Come Pentecost as quickly as it will. Some 25 years, and then we masked. So it's been about 25 years since they last went to a party like this, when they were young men. 'Tis more, his son is elder, sir, his son is 30. Will you tell me that? His son was but a ward 2 years ago. What lady's that which doth enrich the hand of yonder knight? I know not, sir. So this is the moment in which Romeo has first seen Juliet, and he asks who that woman is he's caught his eye. And this part here is important. This is Romeo's soliloquy. A soliloquy in drama just means speaking one's thoughts aloud for the benefit of the audience. So he's not really talking to anyone in particular here. He's just talking aloud about his feelings when he first sees Juliet, so that the audience get a sense of him falling in love with her at first sight. And so this is the first sight of Juliet. You might want to add that annotation to your copy so you can easily find this scene later. So this is Romeo's soliloquy, and then we'll dig into some of the language in a moment. Oh, she doth teach the torches to burn bright. It seems she hangs upon the cheek of night, as a rich jewel in an Ethiop's ear, beauty too rich for use, for earth too dear. So shows a snowy dove trooping with crows, as yonder lady o'er her fellows shows. The measure done, I'll watch her place of stand, and touching hers make blessed my rude hand. Did my heart love till now? Forswear its sight, for I ne'er saw true beauty till this night. So the first line here, oh, she does teach the torches to burn bright. This imagery of light, this hyperbole about her beauty, suggests that Romeo is totally overwhelmed by her beauty on first sight, that love is absolutely all-consuming. And the imagery that he uses is imagery to do with light and darkness all the way through, bright, night, the jewel in an Ethiop's ear. So all of this kind of idea to do with light and darkness is that idea of Juliet being the goodness, bringing the happiness and joy into his life, her innocence and her purity. Not only that, this, as a rich jewel in an Ethiop's ear. So the jewel is the bright and sparkling thing. The Ethiop's ear would be dark. It's talking about somebody from Ethiopia with dark skin. And so there's this imagery of preciousness and of rarity. The jewel in the Ethiop's ear, something that's very rarely seen. And then here, this rhyming couplet at the very end. Did my heart love till now forswear its sight? For I never saw true beauty until this night. So sight and night, two lines that rhyme together are called a rhyming couplet. And this creates a sense of finality, a sense of kind of bringing things to a clear end. This kind of foreshadows tragedy, that their love will end with death. He never saw true beauty until this night, and his life is going to be abruptly cut short. Tybalt spots who this is. He then says, this by his voice should be a Montague. Fetch me my rapier, boy, so fetch me my sword, my dagger. What dares the slave? Look at the language he keeps using to describe Romeo. He calls him a slave here, and then later on he calls him a villain. But let's look at what he has to say about Romeo first before we get on to those address terms. Come hither, covered with an antic face, to fleer and scorn our solemnity. Now by the stock and honour of my kin, to strike him dead, I hold it not a sin. So because of the dishonour that Romeo has brought by coming to this party with my family, I will kill him and not call it a sin. I will call it a just thing to do. It's basically what Tybalt is saying there. Why, how now, kinsman? Wherefore storm you so? So Capulet's trying to calm him down. Hold on, you're not going to fight at my party. Uncle, this is a Montague, our foe, a villain that is hither come in spite, to scorn our solemnity this night. Young Romeo, is it? 'Tis he, that villain Romeo. So look at these address terms, slave, foe, villain. There's this sense of conflict all the way through, this sense of challenge, the idea of the two of them being on opposing sides, of being enemies. And this address term, villain, later on, when Romeo and Tybalt actually face off in combat, face off in a duel, when Tybalt challenges Romeo and calls him a villain, he says, villain, am I none? Because by that point he's already connected and united with Juliet in marriage, so he tries not to fight Tybalt. So that just reminds us of this line later on, and that address term is used again. Content thee, gentle coz, let him alone, bears him like a portly gentleman. And to say truth, Verona brags of him to be a virtuous and well-governed youth. So he's saying, actually, I've heard of this Romeo character. He's supposedly a very well-regarded man in Verona. I would not for the health of all this town here in my house do him disparagement. Therefore be patient, take no note of him. It is my will, the which if thou respect, show a fair presence and put off these frowns, an ill-beseeming semblant for a feast. So he's saying, this is not appropriate for a feast. This is not appropriate for a party. Put off your frowns. Take away your anger. You're not going to fight with him here, is essentially what Capulet is saying. It fits when such a villain is a guest. I'll not endure him. He shall be endured. What good man, boy? I say he shall go too. Am I the master here, or you? Go too. You'll not endure him. God shall mend my soul. You'll make a mutiny among my guests. You will set a cock-a-hoop. You'll be the man. So here, this reference to mutiny. Remember in the prologue it says, from ancient grudge, break to new mutiny. This is a reference, a reminder of that for the audience, that the conflict is about to be born anew. It's about to be born again. Why, uncle, 'tis a shame. Go to, you are a saucy boy, is so indeed. This trick may chance to scathe you. I know what. You must contrary me. Marry, 'tis time. Well said, my hearts. You are a princox. Go. Be quiet, or, more light, for shame I'll make you quiet. What? Cheerly, my hearts. Patience perforce with wilful choler meeting makes my flesh tremble in all their different greeting. I will withdraw, but this intrusion shall, now seeming sweet, convert to bitterest gall. Now, you remember before that when we talked about Shakespeare's pronunciation being different to modern-day pronunciation, some of the words would have rhymed that don't rhyme here. So can you see meeting and greeting? Those are a rhyming couplet. And shall and gall would have rhymed in Shakespeare's time, shawl and gall, or shall and gal. So they would have rhymed. So here we have two rhyming couplets. Again, that idea of finality, that idea of the certainty of death, that warning given by Tybalt. And so when he says, now seeming sweet, convert to bitterest gall, gall would be poison, bitterness. So this imagery of poison shows his deep-seated anger for Romeo. Now the next part we have is the first meeting of Romeo and Juliet. And again, just like we annotated and said first sight of Juliet, here let's annotate first meeting on your page so you can easily find that again. It's a really, really important scene, this, obviously, because it's about the romance between Romeo and Juliet, and this is that first moment where they meet. And here Romeo, it's not soliloquy this time, he does speak to Juliet. If I profane with my unworthiest hand this holy shrine, this gentle sin is this, my two lips, two blushing pilgrims ready stand, to smooth that rough touch with a tender kiss. Good pilgrim, you do wrong your hand too much, which mannerly devotion shows in this. For saints have hands that pilgrims do touch, and palm to palm is holy palmer's kiss. So let's just go back to the bottom here, the first things that he says. So look at this language here. Holy shrine, pilgrims, good pilgrim, devotion. A pilgrim is somebody who goes on pilgrimage, who goes on a religious journey. So a pilgrim is somebody who is religiously devoted to their religion. The word devotion, so that idea of worship, your devotion to a god. A shrine is a kind of a religious artifact that is often worshipped at, something that is used to recognise your devotion. We've got the word holy. We've got the word saints here. So we can see this religious imagery we've annotated here. There is this idea of they worship each other on first sight, and particularly Romeo worships Juliet. There's that heavenly imagery used to describe her. And then at the top here, that's continued. Heavenly and religious significance of their love is really emphasised by that semantic field of religion, that biblical imagery. But see, this palm to palm is holy palmer's kiss. They're talking about their hands coming together to kiss before their lips do. There's this idea of kind of proper and courtly love and kind of respectable love that, you know, he's not supposed to kiss her right away, and he knows that. But equally, palm to palm is holy palmer's kiss. It's that idea of praying hands. When you bring one palm together with the other, that's what you do when you pray, essentially. So there's all this about religion, that this is almost like a religious experience, this moment of meeting one another. Have not saints lips and holy palmers too? Ay, pilgrim, lips that they must use in prayer. Oh then, dear saint, let lips do what hands do. They pray, grant thou, lest faith turn to despair. Saints do not move, though grant for prayer's sake. Then move not while my prayer's effect I take. Thus from my lips, by thine, my sin is purged. And he kisses her. Then have my lips the sin that they have took. Sin from my lips, O trespass sweetly urged. Give me my sin again. So, from your lips, my sin is purged. Romeo is using this metaphor of sin. His lips contain sin. And that metaphor represents corruption in Romeo, that idea that he is sinful, that he is transgressive, that there's sin within him. Whereas Juliet is often represented as being heavenly and pure. So there's a juxtaposition between that corruption in Romeo, but the purity of Juliet. Juliet says to him, you kiss by the book. Nurse appears. Madam, your mother craves a word with you. What is her mother? Marry, bachelor, her mother is the lady of the house, and a good lady, and a wise and virtuous. I nursed her daughter, that you talked withal. I tell you, he that can lay hold of her shall have the chinks. Is she a Capulet? Oh dear account, my life is my foe's debt. So that metaphor there shows the punishment for his love. He's in love with his enemy, and he realises this now. Benvolio warns him now to leave. Away, be gone, the sport is at the best. Ay, so I fear, the more is my unrest. Nay, gentlemen, prepare not to be gone. We have a trifling foolish banquet towards. They whisper in his ear. Is it even so? Why then I thank you all. I thank you, honest gentlemen. Good night. So somebody has whispered in his ear to tell him that that they've whispered an excuse that they need to leave. Well then I thank you all. I thank you, honest gentlemen. Good night. More torches here come. Come on, then let's to bed. Ah, sirrah, by my fay, it waxes late. I'll to my rest. Juliet, come hither. Sorry, Juliet says, come hither, nurse. What is yon's gentleman? So even she's asking, who's that man who I just met with and kissed? Marry, I think that be young Petruchio. What's he that follows here, that would not dance? I know not. Go ask his name. If he be married, my grave is like to be my wedding bed. Now it sounds here like Juliet is kind of hyperbolizing, being very hyperbolic here and exaggerating. When she says, my grave is likely to be my wedding bed. If he is married, I will kill myself, basically, is what she's saying. But actually, this links to the prologue and the idea of their death-marked love. By saying, my grave will be my wedding bed, this aligns marriage and love with death. So there's that proleptic irony about the idea that she, unwittingly here, is talking about the idea that if she is united with Romeo, she is likely to die. Whereas she is saying to the nurse, oh my goodness, if he's married, I will die. Nurse says, his name is Romeo and a Montague, the only son of your great enemy. So look at the importance of the names. A Montague, your great enemy. My only love sprung from my only hate. Too early seen unknown and known too late. So she's only realised he's an enemy at this late stage. It's too late. Prodigious birth of love it is to me, that I must love a loathed enemy. What 'tis, what 'tis? A rhyme I learnt even now, of one I danced with Al. One calls within. Juliet. Juliet! Anon, anon, let's away. The strangers are all gone, and they leave. And the scene ends having discovered the reality of who Romeo is and the fact that she's fallen in love at first sight, essentially with her own enemy, the son of the family's great enemy. It ends with a prologue to Act Two. Again, the chorus, remember the chorus would often be a single narrator. So he gives us a bit of a preamble, a bit of prologue for the start of Act Two. Now old desire doth in his deathbed lie, and young affection gapes to be his heir. That fair for which love groaned for and would die, with tender Juliet matched is now not fair. Now Romeo is beloved, and loves again, alike bewitched by the charm of looks. But to his foe supposed he must complain, and she still loves sweet bait from fearful hooks. Being held a foe, he may not have access to breathe such vows as lovers used to swear. And she is much in love, her means much less, to meet her new beloved anywhere. But passion lends them power, time means to meet, tempering extremities with extreme heat. So their love brings them power and allows them to find a way to be together, despite the hurdles that are in front of them. Okay. So that's the end of Act One. So by the end of Act One, we're still on Sunday evening, the same day as the beginning of the story. Romeo and Juliet have now met. There is this moment of love at first sight, but then there is also the reality. We've also seen that simmering tension in Verona as new mutiny, as a new conflict begins to arise. Okay, we'll leave it there.